Welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. This is our Q&A for Black Friday. We're going to talk about all the great deals that you might be finding right now. Should you be buying them right now on early Black Friday sales, or should you be waiting till Black Friday proper, possibly even afterwards for things like gaming monitors? We'll also talk about the RTX 50 Super Series. Are they going to be absolutely cooked by these GPU VRAM prices out there? In fact, are they absolutely going to be canceled, or are they actually coming? I'll also give you my thoughts on the Steam hardware announcement and all the other latest hardware news. If you get value out of this video, please give a like. It makes a huge difference to the channel. And of course, subscribe for more cool PC content. Let's jump into it. This video is sponsored by Newegg's Black Friday Ultimate Sale from November 20th to 29th. Newegg is cutting prices on PC components, gaming laptops, pre-built, and more. From CPU combos like this Ryzen 9800X 3D with 360mm liquid cooler for just $454, to motherboards like this ultra high-end X870E Strix for just $260, to deals on storage like this 1TB NVMe with DRAM for just $75. And use Newegg's PC Builder to make sure it's all compatible. Want to upgrade your gaming setup? Check out Newegg's deals on gaming monitors, keyboards, mice, and more. Check out Newegg's Black Friday Ultimate Sale using the links in the video description. On a quick note, I am still recovering from a massive cold that I got, one of the biggest colds I've had in a long time. Got it just in time for Black Friday. Speaking of Black Friday, Domo wants to know they're currently building a new PC. They're targeting 5080 and a 9700X. Should they wait a little longer hoping that the market cools off, or should they buy now? They've already gotten some of the parts on their list, motherboard in the case, and RAM prices have only gotten worse. Here's what I would say, Doma, to that. Don't wait. You don't want to wait for two major reasons, both of them having related to AI, and that is prices on both RAM, but also SSDs are going up. Now, I released an entire Black Friday RAM buying guide that's kind of price agnostic to really help you figure out like what's the best deal regardless of how high prices rise, and some things that you can do in the interim to basically take advantage of these Black Friday deals. Because the thing that's happening is the price rises, those are not going away, and the prices you're paying right now are going to be considerably better, more than likely, than prices you're going to pay in January or March or anytime probably in 2026. At the same time, you're going to see deals on other components like CPUs, graphics cards, PC cases, and all the other stuff that you want, for including mice, keyboard, gaming monitors, the whole setup that you need. You're going to be paying a lot less for that right now than you are if you waited 6 or 8 months from now. So I would go ahead and take advantage of all the deals that are going on right now, help offset some of those higher costs. I know it feels like we just haven't been able to get a break in the PC gaming sphere, cryptocurrency, crushed GPUs, and then just as we're coming out of that, we actually had a couple of really good years. Then now we've got RAM prices and AI are just kind of gobbling everything up, and they kind of gobbled up some of our performance increase on like the 50 series, for instance. But right now is the best time, and honestly, this year should have proven to everybody you almost never benefit from waiting. In fact, looking back for the past 5 years, I can't see any benefit to waiting, so just don't do it. Of course, one of those reasons to wait was, of course, the RTX 50 Super Series, and we've got a lot of questions about that because, yeah, more VRAM on those cards, more VRAM pricing, maybe those cards aren't going to come. Rafika says, I've been thinking about building a PC with an RTX 5080 Super because of the rumors about having increased VRAM. But as things stand, NVIDIA may be delaying the super cards to build more server. Should they build a PC with a 9070 XT right now? Instead, they want to play 1440p or 4K. And then similar questions from Paul about GPU prices. They're going to go up because of this, and Andrew. So here's what I would say about the Super Series. I believe, as I think most people do, NVIDIA had always planned to do a 50 Super Series when they launched the 50 Series. And that 50 Super Series was going to use the 3GB GDDR7 modules, which would allow up to 50% more VRAM on the cards than they have now. So if the 5070 would go to 12 to 18 gigabytes VRAM, that's 50% more. Similar increases for the 5070 Ti and 5080. However, I think if you look at the specs on the cards, those cards were only supposed to be slightly overclocked versions of what we already were getting, basically, or slightly better versions. Unfortunately, with the massive increase in RAM prices, those 3GB GDDR7 modules, do you think NVIDIA is really going to ship those to gamers? Let's just take, I don't think you need a source on the inside, right, of NVIDIA to ponder the question, do we think NVIDIA is going to take a limited amount of those 3GB chips and send them into the gaming sphere, or they're going to send them into the AI sphere where they can make just truckloads of money off them? Come on, folks. This is capitalism. NVIDIA has demonstrated time and time again, when they have an opportunity to make a buck, they're going to make a buck, and the gamers are going to take second place. So that's just the reality. Now, it's possible we'll still get a super series of cards and they'll just overclock the cards as they were planning to, but rather than giving us the 3 GB GDDR7 modules, which would increase the VRAM, you'll see cards with essentially the same amount of VRAM, but they'll call them super series. But I don't think that we're going to get the cards that have been rumored, that if you look at video cards and others, with those extra VRAM modules. That is unless something drastically changes in the RAM. If RAM prices continue to go north, basically, I don't see how NVIDIA can feasibly do it without charging a lot more for those cards. And at that point, you're just buying slightly overclocked versions of the current cards. They're going to be way more expensive because memory's going to go up one way or the other. So they're going to have to recoup some of that cost. It just seems like a really bad thing to wait for. I would grab a 9070 XT right now, 16 gigabyte, 5070 Ti. If you want an NVIDIA card, the 5080 is right there at MSRP. In fact, I saw one for slightly under MSRP, and we're going to continue to post deals. These are the things that I would definitely not wait for. In terms of GPU prices for next year, I expect GPU prices to go up based on VRAM prices alone. And I know some people say, well, AMD uses GDDR6, NVIDIA uses GDDR7. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm checking the spot prices on GDDR6. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of daylight between them. They're both going up. It's just one of these things where the entire memory market's going to be constrained. Will AMD have a slight price advantage over NVIDIA cards? Sure. Also, NVIDIA has higher margins on their cards than AMD does. But ultimately, they can only squeeze those margins so much because margins are one of the, key performance indicators for shareholders out there. So they're not going to be able to constrain them too much. You're going to probably see price increases in the new year. So buy stuff now that was manufactured with the RAM that was purchased at a significantly lower price. I am Frank. It says, I recently found your channel looking to learn more about PCs, and you've been a major help. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Their question is, they're building their first gaming and streaming PC, and they were recommended to buy the 7900 XTX 24 gigabyte. I was wondering if that's a better option than the 9070, vanilla 9070, or the 5070 Ti, because of the specific GPU wasn't brought up in my recent videos. So here's the thing. You can still find a couple of models from the RX 7000 series, like the 7900 XTX, and that is a very fast GPU. And I want to make the point here, if you already own that GPU, I'm not saying you need to get rid of it. It is a phenomenal GPU, in fact, and you should be getting a lot of value out of it still. In fact, FSR4 will ultimately come to that, looks like. Fingers crossed by the end of this year, if not early next year. But here's the reason I would get the 9070 XT, I think you meant the XT, or 5070 Ti instead. First of all, I cannot find the XTX in the United States, at least, for anything approaching the price of the 9070 XT or 5070 Ti. It is considerably more expensive and is not that much faster in a raw rasterization. The 9070 XT is always going to have superior ray tracing to it. It just has better ray tracing hardware, basically. With the 7900 XTX, can struggle in some ray traced titles out there. The 9070 XT does significantly better. 5070 Ti also has very good ray tracing, obviously. The 9000 series and the 5000 series, AMD is roughly on par. They're in the same ballpark now as NVIDIA when it comes to ray tracing. It's not heavy path tracing titles, which there's only a handful of those out there. If you can find a 7900 XTX for significantly below the price of the 9070 XT, then I would consider it. I can't seem to find that right now. Between the 9070 XT and the 5070 Ti, check out our best GPU for Black Friday. I'm still seeing the price gap being $599 for the 9070 XT and $749. Actually, there's one at $729 right now for the 5070 Ti. It's a rebate, but it's money. The differences are really, they just basically come down to which upscaler are you going to prefer? Are you FSR4? FSR4 looks great, or DLSS 4. In terms of image quality at 1440p and 4K, honestly, they're identical unless you zoom in 300%, slow it way down. And yes, DLSS 4 in some areas, slightly superior, but if you're just playing a game, there's no way that any human being would be able to tell the two apart. Now, here's where DLSS 4 has some superiority. That's in the just sheer number of games that it covers, because DLSS has been around for a long time, including in particular older titles that don't have FSR at least 3.1, where they could have pushed that using the driver upgrade basically to FSR 4. And if you play one of those titles extensively, right, that would be a major selling point to me if I was that person. However, it's been the case that FSR 4 has been coming out on all the new titles that are being released. So in terms of going forward, the support looks roughly the same. It's just that giant back catalog of older games. If you don't have FSR 4, you probably have to do FSR 3, FSR 2, an older version of FSR that does not look anywhere as good, especially at 1440p. 4K, you could argue that, especially at quality, maybe it doesn't matter as much, but I think definitely if you're looking for 1440p. So here's my buying advice to you. 7900 XTX, only a significant discount than 9070 XT. I like the 9070 XT at a huge price gap, $120 to $150 over the 5070 Ti, unless you are like really honed in on a particular game or set of games that only has DLSS 4. Otherwise, I think the 9070 XT hands down makes a lot of sense, and I think the 5070 Ti likely needs some price cuts. RK wants to know, what are the components that we think we should wait until Black Friday, and what should we be pulling the trigger on right now on early Black Friday sales? Besides RAM and storage are close, and I'm glad you love our videos too, Kane. Let's go component by component. First of all, RAM and storage, gotta buy it right now. AI data centers eating everything up out there. And the longer you wait, the more it's going to cost. SSD prices have also gone up about $20 per terabyte. It's not that much of an increase, so it doesn't really sting as much. It's not as much as the DDR5 pricing, but it is steadily going up, and I don't think you're going to find massive deals on SSDs, certainly not on RAM for Black Friday. In fact, things might just completely sell out for Black Friday for RAM. CPUs, would I buy now or wait until Black Friday? I'd buy now if I was buying a budget CPU like an i5-12400 or Ryzen 5600. Stock of those seems just super thin. But if you're in an AM5 or if you're looking for a 14600K or something like that with DDR5, then I would probably wait. You're probably going to see big discounts on those more mid-range CPUs like the 7600X, 9600X, 9700X, possibly the 7800X3D. The only one I would be really worried about absolutely selling out is the 9800X3D. Again, it's just a highly desirable CPU. We could see it go away pretty quickly, so I wouldn't wait too long on that particular CPU. Over to GPUs, early Black Friday GPU deals haven't really materialized very much. Probably will see some juicier deals as we get into the kind of Black Friday period, which, by the way, really starts between like a week before Black Friday to Black Friday. So like November 20th to the 28th in this case, not just Black Friday proper. So I would probably be waiting until that period to buy a GPU, but don't wait too long because GPUs every year, they completely sell out. And then people are just kind of picking what's left. Now, will this year be different because RAM and SSD prices are scaring off a lot of people from building? Maybe, but I wouldn't bet on it. If you want to build this year, I would make sure you nail down the GPU that you want, because obviously that's going to be the centerpiece of your build. And GPU prices right now are pretty good. Pricing on motherboards right now is actually kind of excellent. I'm seeing great discounts on some of these boards. I'm sure some people, well, this is what they always should have cost. Listen, guys, tariffs have hit, there's been price increases. So I think the pricing on motherboards right now is possibly as good as it's going to get. Will there be a couple of insane deals for Black Friday? There always are, but it might not be the motherboard that you want, or it might be a lower end board that you don't want to buy. So if you see the board that you like and it feels like a pretty good price, just go ahead and pull the trigger. I wouldn't necessarily wait for Black Friday. PC cases, PSUs, and coolers. Coolers is something that you can wait for sure. There's usually really, really good deals around Black Friday. PC cases, same thing, although they do sell out often when they go on super sales. If it's a highly desirable case, thing like the Lee & Lee VR100 or the V100, excuse me, that's a great case. It came out highly desirable. It's already pretty cheap. I don't know how much more you want to try and save on it. PSUs don't have a lot of margins to them, so you don't see big discounts on them, but I am seeing pretty decent discounts on them right now. Then the rest of kind of stuff like gaming monitors is something that I would wait until Black Friday, the kind of proper, because that's when you're going to see insane deals on gaming monitors, especially if you want OLED 1440p, 240 hertz QD OLEDs, which is the current generation, and you don't want to wait for the WOLEDs that are supposedly coming, but they're in the rest of the world, but they're not here in the US yet. And I'm starting to suspect that we may not see them for some time. And when they do come, they may become unobtainium just instantly. And the QD OLED gaming monitors are already really phenomenal. So it's kind of like, do I take the Ferrari I have now, or do I wait for next year's model that may just not be obtainable? I'd probably grab a gaming monitor. Now, things like gaming keyboards, gaming mice, just keep trolling the deals. That's the kind of thing that you can certainly buy into like Cyber Monday, holiday shopping period. They'll still be around. All right, we've got Riff Raff Jonesy. I've got to cover the Steam hardware announcement. If not, here a separate video dedicated to the suite of hardware. I saw the stuff. We didn't get pre-briefed by Valve. That's fine. Not really stuff that we typically cover anyway on this channel, but I did see like the Gamers Nexus and some other coverage of it. And I've been really sick, so I haven't been able to do a deep dive, but I'm going to give you my general thoughts on it. Let's start with the Steam box. It's fine. It's basically kind of a tweener between a console like a PS5 Pro and a full-blown gaming PC. I mean, it technically is a gaming PC, but it's kind of like a laptop hybrid, basically. So it's going to have roughly slower than Ryzen 7600X performance in terms of the CPU. And it's got 32 compute units of RDNA 3, which is roughly on par with, I believe, like the Radeon RX 7600, the non-XT version. So it's going to have decent levels of performance. And then, of course, because it's RDNA 3, it will have FSR 4, the Int 8 version of FSR 4, which is not going to be as good as the RX 9000 series of FSR 4, but it's got FSR 4. So I think overall that looks really good. And I think I like the approach that they're taking. They're going to do this kind of little box first, and maybe they'll scale that up over time. That's basically how I see them. They're going to try this little entry-level thing. If there's demand for this, if there's interest in it, then they can scale it. And if there's not, no harm, no foul. The thing I'm mostly interested though, and the thing I was super excited about, was SteamOS, like as a full-blown operating system, not just for handhelds. Fingers crossed, I want to see that developed into a Windows competitor, because I think there has needed to be a Linux competitor to Windows for quite some time. And Valve is a company that has the money and basically the expertise and the user base to do this. So I'm fingers crossed. That's the thing I'm most excited about. I want to build a gaming PC and be able to install either SteamOS or Windows and have that be my option. And then I want to also see like who's got the better gaming performance. So that's my super excitement. Of course, there's going to be more to come, and we'll take a look next year. I'll leave links to all of our Black Friday guides down in the video description. Thanks for putting up with my super sick voice. I really appreciate that. I would really appreciate it if you got value out of this video. Please do give it a like. It does make a difference to the channel. And of course, subscribe for more cool PC content. Like, did you check out our best GPU to buy for Black Friday? We go through all the GPU deals that we expect right here, or the best CPU deals for Black Friday. Check it out, and we'll catch you on the next one.